Hey up lads and lasses, Danfire here, back again with some more Terra Invicta. Got a few more little tips and tricks for you today. One's to absolutely powerhouse your economy, and one is to steal money and ruin a country for your enemy, which is kind of fun. It's like two birds with one stone right there. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So here we are in game, and now I'm going to show you how you can sort of boost your economies up to like quite a decent level more rapidly than you maybe usually would. So when you take control of a country, they quite often just give you a load of basically investment points into pretty much everything. It's not necessarily the best way to do that. Even picking some of these doesn't usually help. So what I recommend doing is actually just removing literally everything and then specializing countries into specific sort of research or specific investments that you are more looking into. For example, here we have Sweden. It's already got a low inequality, so welfare is not going to really benefit it too much. Economy is obviously going to benefit because that's going to grow the economy. So we can put some points into economy. Now we're, running 38% of our budget within the economy. We can also then potentially buff knowledge. And what this will do is increase our democracy, and the higher this gets, the more investment points you get. You've also got unity. This helps with cohesion. Now, cohesion's a bit of a weird one. So how cohesion works is you have this resting state when you're in a democracy of about 5, and you get some nice little bonuses and stuff for that. Between 0 and 3.5, you have a sort of dictatorship, a bit like, well, not Russia in that case, that's just dominated. In Africa, you get it fractured down here, and these cause like pretty severe debuffs on your country and the amount of investment you can do. Something to note as well is you should make sure to get rid of any unrest that you possibly have, because the unrest debuffs are pretty huge. For an example here, looking at the Congo, unrest is decreasing the nation's investment points by 65%. So removing the unrest within these countries, if you are trying to go into Africa, is going to help you out a lot. Something also to note is these northern hemisphere countries, Sweden, Norway, and Greenland, Canada, etc., have this nice little bonus up here that you can see, and it's the ecologically protected regions. This basically means it's not taking as severe of a hit from the global environment changes, such as global warming. We take a look at just even the UK, which is only just south of it. We don't have that, and there is actually a debuff in effect that's hitting the UK, and it brings its GDP down. So, picking countries that have already got the ecologically protected regions going to help. There is welfare now buffs these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere toward a safer levels. However, we don't know how that quite works at the current moment. There's no tooltip anywhere saying if this is like a region-based global warming thing, where if you do buff your welfare, maybe you can make Europe fine and you'll get rid of the debuffs, or if it's like everyone in the world needs to work towards it, or if it's just specifically country-based. So I'd still recommend at the current moment, as we don't have the information at hand, to just try and pick the ones that do have the ecologically protected regions, because it'll make your game a little bit easier. Back to sort of specializing here. So we know that in Sweden, it's actually got a pretty good science department. So things like the spaceflight program here is going to be really, really useful. So I'm going to specialize into spaceflight program, and that's it. I'm going to leave it as is for now. Funding is really useful here, but I'm going to put my funding into Norway, as its spaceflight program isn't quite as developed, and it doesn't have any other bonuses here that I particularly need, although I should have some in Unity here. So putting some into unity and then using funding and then ignoring spoils entirely, because spoils give us a negative to our government. And having a negative to the government is going to reduce the investment points that we can potentially get later on. So just ignore it completely and it'll be more or less fine. You can go into funding instead. This does a similar effect to it, where every time that you sort of fund a certain amount, you'll start getting money back from the country, as opposed to spoils where it kind of just steals from the country. So there's 2 little tips for you. Specialize your countries. For example, spaceflight for Sweden, funding for Norway, so I have a money generating country. I have a boost generating company. I've just taken Finland. It's probably going to be my mission control country, although it has got a fairly good boost potential here as well, so I may look more into that a little bit later on. Eventually maybe I'll go into Russia and start taking bits of these and go towards like an army focus there. So specializing countries like that is going to help you out a lot. If you have got low inequality already, you can remove from welfare, and then every now and then, once the inequality sort of rises up a little bit too high, just pump into welfare a little bit, bring it back down. Watch out for unrest though as well. But you can just move these stats around. It's considerably better than just allowing sort of the AI or the presets to just split all its resources, like 17% into funding and spaceflight. It's going to take years and years to get anywhere. I've got 32% funding now in spaceflight program in Sweden, and it's going to push up my boost capabilities a lot faster doing it that way. Same with this, the funding, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to take a lot less time to start getting that money rolling in from the funding. Now, I did mention a nice little trick you can do. If you have a country that you don't like, say France, because you're British, you can go into here, steal a single control point off them, remove everything that you possibly can, except spoils. Just steal all of the money out of their economy. So this country's looking to be taken over by, I believe this is Exodus. Yeah, the Project Exodus guys. So I'm just going to steal their money. And what it's also going to do, it's going to decrease their governments and all sorts of stuff. It's going to probably increase their unrest at the same time. And all in the while, it does absolutely nothing to myself. I have a feeling this might be a little bit exploitive. So there's a potential it's going to get patched. But you might as well use it while it's there, right? So say you've got, I don't know, these guys over here, the initiative, and you really don't want them having too much power, just steal one of their control points and put everything into spoils and just steal all of their money, because why wouldn't you want to do that? 2 birds, 1 stone. So there is a quick little tips guide again, how to boost your economy up a little bit, and also how to steal money from your opponents and deal some damage to them in the process. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.